Hello and welcome to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney, and you have found the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. So give us a call, why don't you? 616-774-2424. That's area code 616. And don't complain, it's not 800 number, because I know on your cell phone, it's all free anyway, right? Every call is a local call. No, it is not. You don't have to wait till 8 o'clock Sunday night to call home. You remember that? Unless someone had a Watts line. Every once in a while, somebody had a Watts line. It's like, oh my goodness, we can actually call, and it's less than $10 a minute or whatever it was. But anyway, nowadays it's 616-774-2424. That's the number to call. And we'll get your question, comment, or concern on the air. Of course, we make it easy for you. We could make it, if we made it any easier, it would be, I don't know if it'd be illegal or not, but probably if we made it easier. But you could always drop us an email, david@davidcarrierlaw.com. And you can go to the website as well. So it's david@davidcarrierlaw.com. See how easy that is? Or just go to the website, davidcarrierlaw.com, and sign up there. So like I say, if we could make it easier, we would, but it would probably be, well, it's certainly immoral. Right? If we made it easier, it'd be definitely be immoral, if not outright illegal. So that's what you got. That's what you got going on there. Easy to give us a call if you'd like. If you don't want to hear me yakety yakking, then pose your own question, no problem. In fact, we do welcome that. Okay. What do we talk about here? Remind me. Oh yeah, estate planning. That'd be the wills and trusts. Oh, I have a ladybird deed. I'm all fine. Ladybird deed. Are you joking? Come on. It's a tool. It's a technique. It's a trick. It's a scheme. It's a plan. It's a something that we do frequently. Okay. Every day we're doing ladybird deeds. They're great. Very useful tools. They really are. It's a very useful technique. But I think what happens frequently is people mistake techniques for planning. Does that make sense? You have a hammer and a saw, right? And do you have a house? No, you have a hammer and a saw. Could you have a house using your hammer and saw? Yeah, you could, or a porch or whatever else it is you want. Yeah, you could. But you wouldn't make the mistake of thinking, oh, because I have a hammer and a saw, now I have a house. Well, it doesn't quite work that way, right? And that's why I say that the estate planning, people say, oh, I need a trust. I don't know, maybe you do. As a tool, right? Oh, I need a will. I need a power of attorney. I need a this and a that. And the fact of the matter is, not so much. What you need, I would suggest, is a little bit of certainty, a little bit of purpose. I understand there's a monk now doing a podcast about finding purpose and stuff. It couldn't, very popular apparently. Great. How wonderful is that? The people are finally saying, hey, it's not about the tools, right? It's about the purpose. It's about the intentionality. It's about what am I doing here and why am I doing it? Right? That's the key, it seems like. And then the rest of it is how you accomplish that, how you achieve that. And are trusts useful? Yeah, they're useful. Yeah. Well, what is it you want to do? All right. Maybe the trust is the way to go. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But you get to decide what's important for you. And when you've decided what's important for you, then you look to the tools. Right? Well, which tool am I going to use to make this happen? Am I going to use a will? Am I going to use a trust? Am I going to use powers of attorney? I'm just going to give all my stuff to my kids this afternoon so that 20 years from now I can keel over and won't have to worry about it. I mean, really, what's the idea? What is it you're trying to accomplish? You got to ask yourself that question, because that's where the answer lies. What is my purpose? What is my goal? What is my function? All right? What am I doing here? And once you answer that question to your satisfaction, right? And people have different answers. Everybody, lots of people, different answers. I get to I think I mentioned it last. Did I mention it last week? I've got finally at last got a grandkid. Woohoo! Pretty excited about that. All right. So is that, for my daughter who now has little Otto there? Is that a function? Is that a purpose? Kind of, yeah. Right. Making the world a better place and all that. Contributing to the greater welfare and stuff. That sort of thing. Fulfilling that purpose in life of being a parent and making sure there's a future there and all that. I think that's pretty important stuff. It's not for everybody. I get that. Goodness knows, not for everybody. Some people puzzles me, actively reject it, that the whole parenthood thing. Say silly things like, oh, the world is so bad. Yeah, you get this? You ever hear about this? Oh, the world is so bad, I don't want to bring children into it. It's like, are you kidding me? If the people from 100 years ago could look at the lives we live, they would have thought they died and gone to heaven, right? I mean, when you had plague, there was a time when you got sick, that was over. That was over. You got an infection, you get cancer of various kinds, and see you later. We start measuring you for your pine box right now. Well, it ain't that way anymore. Hurrah for that. You've got, but doesn't it seem, just suggesting, maybe it seems that while we have more tools to live well, to live right, we have less purpose to live well, to live right. You know what I mean? The whole idea of living right seems like oh, you better not say that. You would not believe how many times folks will ask me, how do you get away with the things you say on radio? Seriously. It's like, get away with what? This idea that that there should be purpose, the idea that there should be, function, intentionality. There's something wrong with that. Seriously. And I get it even more with the newspaper stuff. It's like, I don't quite understand what people are worried about. But anyway, it's nice to know that they're worried about me. I like that. I appreciate the concern. But the point is that in order to decide what kind of planning you want to do, you have to have a reason for it. And then you have to have some event. This just seems obvious to me after all these years of observing when it is that people start planning. Okay. You need a positive event or a negative event that will kind of inspire you to move ahead, to say, okay, let's take it off I know I'm supposed to do it, which is like the worst reason for anything. Have you ever noticed that? Like, I'm supposed to is like a really terrible reason for most people. That's been my experience. You have to have something better than other people told me so. You have to have something that's internal. You have to have something that's yours. I'm doing this why? So that my life of work isn't wasted. That's not a bad idea. I have to do this why? Because this will help my family. I have to do this because I don't want to be destitute and in pain when the hard times come. Lots of reasons that people have. Greater glory of God. There are people who do it for that reason. Okay. But because I have to, that's pretty terrible reason for doing pretty much anything. If you think about the things that you were told to do because you had to do them, you really didn't like it. Most of the time, usually when you understand the why, now you find purpose. And because once someone explains to you why, you have to think about this. How vulnerable are you when you explain why to somebody, right? So just a stupid example. In my office, right, we have, I don't know, about 50, 60 folks, right? And it's not quite a dress code, but sort of. And for the guys, I'm more comfortable insisting on what the guys wear. But for the guys, if, it's a blue shirt, could be white, that'd be okay, with the logo on it. Law Office of David Carrier. That's got to be on there. And you have to have it sent out. You can't do it yourself because people don't actually iron their shirts very well. And the machine that they have at the dry cleaners is really good. It puffs it up. It's not that much, a couple bucks to get your shirts done. And you look snappy. That's my opinion. Now, you may disagree. You may say, oh, I like to see people wearing wrinkly shirts. I don't. Most of my clients don't either. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it's very, very difficult to evaluate for you. Very difficult to evaluate the work that we do. Okay? Very difficult. You get a trust binder, and we've explained it to you, and we'll go over it with you, and we'll go, chapter and verse. That's fine. But still, is it any good? Who knows? There's the saying, the thing you do, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Okay? And so the teams are extremely meticulous about the documents, about how they're done. Every week we meet, the attorneys meet 5 days a week in a group meeting. You may think that's an awful waste of time. Most firms don't do that. It's catch as catch can, and every once in a while they have a big hoopla somewhere and the attorneys all get together. It's not how we do it. So we've got a lot of attorneys, and they all get together 7:45 every, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then on Wednesday again. And why? So that we make sure that what we're doing is the best that it can be. It's a big investment of time and effort and everything else, but it's the way we get it done correctly. But how do you know that? How do you know? You don't. How can you evaluate us? It's tough. I want to get back. I'll explain why we shine our shoes and press our shirts. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. You have found the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. Also, anything else you would like to talk about, it's easy to do. Give us a call, 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. We'll get your question, comment, or concern on the air. Talking today a little bit about purpose, function, that kind of stuff, intentionality. I know, boring as heck, right? But it is Sunday. Come on now. Come on. Day of rest and time to think about this kind of thing, maybe. Maybe, just possibly, huh? And the idea that so often we mistake, especially with estate planning, because it's easy to do, we mistake tools for the planning. And so we get plans that, it's like instead of being served, we serve. Does that make sense? Like we try to squish what we want into what the guy next door did. Oh, I did this ladybird deed, and now everything's taken care of. Oh, I just put the kids' names on the accounts, and so now everything's taken care of. Oh, I just did this, I just did that, right? Joint tenancies, beneficiary designations, all these things. And it's the absolute tail wagging the dog. You start off with, I want to avoid probate. Well, what kind of purpose is that? It's not even a purpose. It's not a reason. All right. Avoiding probate is a feature. It's like I have a red car. Okay. It's not like, oh, I want something red. Oh, I think I'll go buy me a car. It's like, wait a second. It's really kind of, ass backwards, isn't it? I mean, what? Hang on again. Why are we doing this? See? And so people do planning frequently, and they try to squeeze their family situation. They try to shoehorn what they want into what's available. And like many politicians who do it like this, the techniques are so vague and the understanding is so, what do you want to say? Oh, like in the last week, I got 2 or 3 people on the Facebook, who obviously don't understand estate, very obviously don't understand what we're doing or how we're doing it. And they're all like, oh, you guys are terrible. This is so easy. All you have to do is blah, 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 blah. It's the routine nonsense. And it's like, oh, you're terrible because, and it's like, wait a second. The things that they favor are shoehorning or like squeezing what's really a fairly complex family situation with people who have intention. People are doing things for reasons, kind of squeezing it into the legal forms that are the most basic. It's like, well, how did that get to be a good idea? There's no, it's a one size fits all situation. There's no thought about it. It's like, oh, here's how I avoid probate. Boom, done. Well, you could avoid probate by giving all your stuff to your kids right now. You could burn it all down, right? I mean, you could take the ridiculous extreme if you wanted to. If you think that's a good idea, who am I to say no? Go ahead. Give it all to your kids. Burn it all down. Do it like that. But that's not, 33 years of doing this. After talking to family, that's not what people want. It isn't. What folks want is based on their own experience, based on their own, sometimes it's religious motivation, sometimes it's family motivation, sometimes it's just personal. There's all kinds of reasons why people want to do certain things and have an effect during their lifetime. Yeah, that's why you worked. I get it. And then be a positive power, influence, whatever you want to say, moving on. And you can't do that unless you examine what it is motivating you. And then once you've done that, then you need to employ the correct tools, right? And the difficulty, I want to finish up what I promised you last segment. Why do we have shiny shoes? Why do we wear the shirts? Because you can't tell that we meet 5 days a week. You can't tell how many hours goes into crafting the words. You can't tell how much work goes in behind the scenes. And there are people out there who really don't get it, what we're doing. I get it. That's fine. I'm not offended by it, except when they turn around and they say, you guys are terrible because all you needed to do was this ladybird deed or change beneficiary designations. Like, you have no concept of what's going on here. Okay. But you know what you do have a concept of is the person sitting behind the desk, the person I'm talking to, do they have nasty scuffed up shoes? Do they look like a rag bag? You know what I mean? Are they all wrinkly? Well, I'm wrinkly, but I mean, are they all, is their shirt all wrinkly? Or does it look nice and crisp and starched and all the rest of that stuff? All right. Well, that's something you can look at. Now, what is the necessary connection between a starched shirt and, look at the snappy and good legal work? Well, you could be an awful lawyer, and I've known a couple who look perfect, look much more like a lawyer than I do. A movie lawyer. They look great, and they're idiots. I mean, that's not uncommon, okay? But at least, so you can use this to deceive. I'm not saying you can't. You absolutely can. But if we take care, this is what fresh baked cookies. We're not kidding about the fresh baked cookies. We bake them fresh every single day, every day, sometimes twice a day. It depends. Why? Well, because we promised you we'd do that. And if we keep our promises in little things, then we keep our promise in big things, because we're trying difficult things to do. Because there'll be times where you say, well, how come this isn't done or that isn't done? Well, the bank and this, and you've got to be able to trust us. You got to be able to say, hey, those guys said certain things that I can measure easily, and they did those things, right? Maybe they're doing the hard things also. That's where I'm coming from on it. Give us a call, why don't you? 616-774-2424. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And if you want, if you don't like what you're listening to, well, you could change the channel, but I don't recommend that. I mean, there's nothing better on, right? The live and local and all that. So, you don't want to change. But what you could do is call in, right? And then we'll answer your question, and then it'd be something interesting because you thought of it instead of me. I understand how this works. Anyway, 774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. Just give us a shout and we'll let it all hang out. That's a rhyme. Anyway, yes, do that. Or you can email me, David at davidcarrierlaw.com, David at davidcarrierlaw.com, or just go to davidcarrierlaw.com and you can leave us a message there. I don't know how you do it, but anyways, I'm told that there's a way to do that. So, plus there's great other stuff on there. You know, if you missed last week, you can listen to it, right? Nothing better to do. So this week, and listen, I am more than happy if you want to talk about the legal technical aspects of this. We could talk about the economy. We could talk about what is going on with the employee retention tax credit. That's something we got hip deep into starting last year. You've seen the ads for this stuff everywhere, right? It's almost as bad as the Camp Lejeune Marines and the bad water and stuff that they got. I mean, there's ads everywhere for this ERTC stuff. Well, you know, my firm has done hundreds, thousands. I think we've got about 5,000 of these done so far. You know, in partnership with other folks to get these tax credits done. And if you have a business or had a business 2020, 2021, and now you're kind of running on fumes, hey, the government might be, you know, give you back some of the tax dollars you paid in. Right. I mean, it's a pretty good thing if you kept. Now it's based on you having kept people employed during that COVID thing. You remember that, right? COVID. Yeah. And anyway, so yeah, because of the COVID thing, the you know, this was one of the programs to keep businesses going. And if you did that, you know, if you were the good guy who kept your doors open and kept people employed, that's the key, keeping people employed. You know, so many misconceptions. You get feedback. Oh, it's all free money and da da da. It's like, well, no, not exactly. It is money that is for folks who kept businesses going. That's who it's for, and that's what it is, and it works over and over again. So if you have a question about that, more than happy to. We can get chapter and verse on it because so often people were told that they did not qualify, or businesses did not qualify, when they actually did. And if you'd like, we can talk about that, or we can talk about the ins and outs of probate and all the rest. But I think that all of this stuff comes back in the first iteration. The first step is defining your purpose, right? So for a lot of these business owners, you know, what was the goal, the function, the purpose? Why did they keep people employed? Well, usually when you have a business, there's something that you want to do, something that you can't really explain, but you just feel it's necessary to get it done, whatever that may be. And then the businesses frequently, especially smaller businesses, it's the way that you accomplish that mission, that purpose, that function, that goal, whatever you want to call it, that thing that you can't really name, but you got to do it because if you don't do it, then you feel bad, and so you got to do it. And that's like the same way with life, right? I mean, that's the way people are. It's like you can't really explain why you've got to do something. You just feel the need for it, the purpose. And that's really important because the tools only make sense in the context of the purpose. And it's not easy to figure out what people's purpose is, okay? Or to get people to think about what their purpose is. And then, and then once you figure that one out, okay, then the tools make sense, right? Like if you really don't care about your kids, then go ahead and put them make them beneficiaries. Why not? It's really stupid. It's not good for you. It's not good for your spouse. It's not good for the kids, but go ahead and do it. You don't care anyway. Mm-hmm. Who am I to tell you that you should care? But if you do care, then all right, then let's think about the ways that you make that the best it can be, that you can serve your purpose, your function, what have you. Right? And then you have to do the work that's necessary to achieve what you want to achieve. It's all linked together. And the tragedy, it seems to me, is that a lot of folks because it's difficult, because it's hard, and it's tough to understand. I don't want to soft pedal it. I mean, it's not immediately obvious why doing trusts or why using these tools make any sense. It's like, well, so and so did this and it worked out great. Which is not to say it doesn't ever work out great. It's just that you don't have any reason for thinking it will. Okay? I mean, your purpose is more mystical. You know what I mean? Why you want to do what you want to do. That's personal. That's mystic. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you really want to do that? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. That's very personal. That's up to you. The question of how to get it done, all right, that's where I can be helpful, you know. And then this is behind all the little things that we do, like requiring our guys to wear starched shirts, you know, and for the women, they get to everybody gets to vote around my place. So they decided to go with cardigans with the logo on it. Okay. You know, for a while it was blazers and now they want cardigans. Okay, fine. You know, whatever you want. But the idea is that there would be, especially with the guys, that there would be some consistency there. Like this is the way it's done. So when you're sitting down across the table from somebody, right, their shoes are shined, right? The shirt is pressed and it looks right. The cookies are fresh this morning or at noontime. They usually bake a second batch around noontime. You know, why? Because it's tough to evaluate. I've seen more crap estate plans I could throw a stick at. Unbelievable. You know, and from name brand law firms and stuff like that. And it's just, nobody thought about it. Nobody considered it. You read the stuff. It's just boilerplate, you know, and they didn't really dig into, you know, it's the same thing you've seen from them before. Here it is again, right? Without any real appreciation for what was going on in that particular family. You know, I had one of these boo birds on Facebook. It's like, well, 90% of it's templates. It's like, yeah, no kidding. Yes. Been at this for a while. I'm not reinventing the wheel. You know what I mean? It's like somebody comes in, you know, hey, I need some transportation. Let me think about wheels. It's like, no, I mean, here's what works now. And this is the 10%. How do we make this yours? How do we make this encapsulate? How do we make this serve your purpose, your function? And you say, well, if 90% of it's boilerplate, then what? You know, they do you've seen this, right? What's the difference between human beings and chimpanzees in terms of DNA? Okay. Not much. It's less for women. You know, excuse me, there's greater difference for women, but for guys, it's somewhere under 2%, right? I mean, Google it, look it up. You have less than 2%. You got less than 2% different DNA between you and Cheetah from Tarzan, right? That's reality. But I think we can all agree it's an important, it's an important 2%. Can we agree on that, please? All right. So we get 5 times the difference between you and a chimpanzee making up your estate plan, right? Well, because there's a whole range of tools that we can use, and we're planning for the future. And the problem with planning for the future is we haven't been there yet. We don't know what it is. And so you got to lay this stuff in. Otherwise, when the future shows up and it's different than what you planned, you're not ready for it. You got to be ready for it. That's what I think. But it's all about your purpose. It's about your intention. It's about what do you want to have happen? And we take that very seriously, from shining shoes and starched shirts to fresh baked cookies and, you know, all the rest of the stuff that we do to. Now, the problem with that is it's expensive. All right. If you do it one-on-one, if you do it traditional way, and as some of, you know, faithful listeners know, I've been talking about this now for a couple of months. We're doing it differently. We figured out a way, working with some other attorneys, to make it different. I'll talk about that in the last segment. You're listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm still David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. You can still give us a call, 616-774-2424. We're talking about purpose, goals, intentions. None of this legal mumbo jumbo makes any sense. I don't care what it is. I mean, the voluntary stuff, criminal stuff is different, but who cares about contract law or business organizations or any of this stuff unless you have a purpose, a goal. You want to get something done. Well, then there's all kinds of legal tools to help you do that. And in the area of estate planning, it's pretty universal. I don't want to die broke. I don't want to die with the government, stepping on my air hose because I didn't tell anybody what I wanted. If I can't make my decisions for me, I want to know who's going to make those decisions for me, for my loved ones, and for the accomplishments I've had during my lifetime. Okay. These are fairly basic. I mean, they go among, pretty much everybody. Very few people don't care if they live or die. Very few. And for the few who don't care, that's usually kind of transitory. Right. So I'm not saying there aren't people like that out there. There are, but not so many. Okay. So for most folks, it's, you're motivated by your goal, purpose, intent. The thing that, I don't want to say that blows my mind. I don't think people say that anymore, do they? The thing that stupefies me is that to satisfy that desire to plan, to know, to express your purpose, function, goal, whatever, right? Whatever you want to call it. People turn to these tools that don't do that, but that kind of sort of hint at the promise of it. This is what I'm talking about with, I'm doing a ladybird deed. I'm putting my kids on the account. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's all blunt force. There's no real consideration. And I'm not saying you couldn't do these things after consideration. Maybe you thought it all through. But you know something? I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think what you did was you reached for the straw. You reached for the lifeline that somebody said, do this. And it'll be all okay because it worked out in Uncle Henry's family. Okay, sure. Why not? And it's difficult. It's difficult, and it takes time to do it correctly. Everybody wants to, slap a patch on it and it'll be just fine. Well, no, it doesn't actually work that way. So here's the challenge. Here's the challenge that we've had 33 years. How do you deliver? How do you stay true? Because that's my purpose, all right? It just absolutely grinds me to see these crap estate plans, and I mean crap. And I mean, the attorney who put it together either didn't know what they were doing, all right, which I think is a lot, or because the way they teach them is horrible, or they did it wrong on purpose. It's like, were you stupid or evil? I mean, a lot of this estate planning boils down to that. Because they put probate traps in there, and maybe you didn't know what you were doing. Okay, maybe you didn't. But wait a second. How's that okay? Why is that an excuse? You've heard that excuse, right? It's like, I didn't know. Well, what do you mean you didn't know? You were supposed to know. That's what you're doing here. So here's what we're doing, okay? Because I like to think we're the smart guys. At least we work pretty hard, guys and gals, because most of, pretty even balanced there. I mean, most of the folks in the firm are women, but anyway, the point is, what's my point? It's absolutely galling to see that folks don't get it done right, and it's always been a one-on-one. That's how we've done it, and that's expensive. It is. I mean, and nowadays it's unsupportable. I mean, given the job market and everything else. So what we've done is we've gone to, and it's an option. You don't have to do it this way. You can still do it what I view as the traditional way, which I think is really the best, but it's a different way of doing it. So if you haven't been to a life plan workshop recently, you should come to one because it's different. I mean, we cut our fees by half, by 2/3. Depending on what sort of things you want. And it's done now to the extent we possibly can in a group setting, all right? Because you just can't get away from it if you're doing it one-on-one. There's no way. And then you only get, the least expensive option. Oh, because, and it becomes a sales thing, and it's all that crap. So who wants to deal with it? Nobody. What you want to do is you want to put together a plan that really works for folks, and it grinds you when you see people choosing things that aren't really in their best interest, but it's a financial decision. So what if we cut our fees and did everything, right? What if you got the whole you got the whole Golden Corral, the whole old country buffet, with Charlie's Crab. Let's make it nice. All right, you got the Easter buffet at Mother's Day buffet at Noto's, or Mother's buffet at Charlie's Crab, if you remember that one. And it's like everything you could want and more of it. Okay, but now it's like the buffet. It's a group setting. They don't come to your table and everybody serve the dishes all at the same moment like they do at some fancy places. No, instead it's look, you get everything, absolutely everything, and it's a fraction of the cost of what it used to be, but you still deliver. See, that's been the trick. It's like, how do you deliver quality? How do you deliver what folks really need that's responsive to their individual purpose, goal, function? How do you do that and not invest all the time, the money, the expense, the overhead, doing it the way we've done it traditionally? That's the challenge. And I think that's what because we're getting the results now. That's the change that we've had, to do it in everything we can. And there's one-on-one time built into the new system, but everything we can do, we do in a group setting, which dramatically lowers the expense of doing it. I'm seriously, I made more money when I was a solo than having all these folks hanging around, but you can't keep the promise if you don't have all the backup, right? You need it. It's painful. It's overhead. It's all that. Making a payroll every couple of weeks. It's woe is me. But what if we could cut the expense? And that's what we're doing. Delivering everything we've developed over the years, and it's been 3 decades now. All the different tips, tricks, all that stuff that we've learned, you still get, right? But how do we deliver it? It's like, I use the analogy, it's like flying to Florida. You can go in Delta first class, you can go on Allegiant. Okay, one costs a lot less than the other, but you're still going to wind up in Florida. That's the idea. Been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney, inviting you to a life plan workshop. We're doing it different now. Give us a try. Hello and welcome to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And you have found the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. So give us a call, why don't you? 616-774-2424. 616-774-2424. That's the number to call if you'd like to get your question, comment, or concern. Excuse me. Question, comment, or concern on the air. It's easy to do. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science or what have you. So we'd like to hear from you. That'd be nice. But if you'd like, if you don't, I'll put it that way. Here's the threat. If you don't, then you gotta listen to me. I can do some emails. That'd be fine. Just reminding everybody, if you just tuned in, purpose, goal, intent. Why are you doing this stuff? That's what really matters. And we have, if you've worked with us before, we've done it all very personal, very one-on-one, and there are costs associated with that, which are kind of personnel costs, which kind of getting out of hand. So what we've done is now understand that we haven't upped fees. I want to talk about fees here a little bit. Everybody loves to talk about that, right? So why not? So we haven't upped the fees for the estate planning since before COVID. I mean, we've just stuck with it, and it's been a challenge. no question, it's been a challenge, especially in this environment. And we haven't cut back on what we do. We've just, we just keep it on, really. I mean, cut back on other stuff. And a friend of mine, good friend of mine, suggested a different way that he had started doing things, which was, rather than go one-on-one, why not do the group? I mean, like, we do these life plan workshops. Okay. So we get, 10, 15, 20 families, 40 folks in a room. And we're talking about, hey, here's how, here are some things that you might want to think about when it comes to estate planning. Here's how the system really works. And then go one-on-one after that. Well, what if we didn't go one-on-one? Which, I've got an attorney there, I've got all the support, et cetera, et cetera. It's expensive. But what if we kept the group setting, right? What if we took you through the group setting for everything that we could, that doesn't compromise confidentiality, doesn't compromise your counseling, right? But what could we do? What could we do in a group setting that we do one-on-one right now, which would bring down the cost? So that's what we did. And we've cut the cost in half. We've cut the fees in half. Depending on what you choose to do, it might be as much as 2/3 cut in the fees. And so far, we've been piloting this, we've been testing this now for the past several months. And so far, the response has been really positive. People are getting what they need, and not everybody sticks with it. There's I'd say about 20% of folks, 1 in 5, say, well, I'd rather go with I'd rather pay the extra and go with the full-fledged one-on-one stuff, which is fine. I'm not arguing it. It's we still have still difficult, but if that's the way you want to go, we'll accommodate, okay, at the pre-COVID fees, and we're not bumping that either. But because we have instituted other efficiencies, so we can still keep our keep the prior fee schedule. Anyway, long story short, there's a new way that we're doing things, and now, because we're doing it this way, because it is so much more efficient, we're right in the mix. People before, in order to get the level of work that we do, there was hey, it's too expensive. And it's like, well, yeah, I certainly understand that in this environment, everything more expensive all the time. But, so that's what we were doing, trying to hold the line. We did hold the line on fees, but then now what we're doing that's different is we've actually cut the fees, not 10%, 15%, 50%, in order to make that available for folks. So that's out there. If you have a question, comment, or concern, or wondering how all that works, give us a call, 616-774-2424, 616-774-2424. That's during the show, because that number goes to the studio. But you can always drop me a line, David@davidcarrierlaw.com. David@davidcarrierlaw.com. Go to that website, davidcarrierlaw.com. There's all kinds of information on the website, when the workshops are. And we're doing these now at all the offices, whether you're in Muskegon, over in Holland, down in Portage, or at the home office in Grand Rapids. We're also doing a lot of outreach. We're going to Big Rapids, Grand Haven, Ann Arbor, the different places where my the newspapers are running my columns, my weekly scribbles. So and so far, like I say, the response has been real positive. I have to make very, very clear, though, this was not my idea. If I have a good idea, I like to take credit for it. But credit where it's due. It wasn't my idea. It was a buddy of mine, another attorney who's been doing pioneering work in this area. And he said, hey, why don't you try this? And we've been friends, I don't know, 10, 15 years now, passing ideas back and forth, which is how it's supposed to work, I think. Friends looking out for friends. And, and if you come up with something good, I share it with them and they share it with us. And so that's how we got here. All right. The question is, how do we deliver without backing off on quality, without backing off on making sure that what you get is what you want, is what you need, will serve your purpose? Because we could have cut corners, could have done that, but we're not about to. You know what I mean? When you start making things, ask GM in the 70s and 80s, right? Here's what happens when you cut corners. All of a sudden, you get the Vega, you get the Pinto. Do you really want a Pinto? It blows up if it gets hit from behind. Yeah, give me one of those. Oh no! Here, have a Vega instead. Do you remember the Vega? Right? It rusted out. Like, I'm a big fan of 1956 Chevys, right? Love them. We grew up with one. That's the only way we could get the whole family plus Nana my grandmother my Irish grandmother in the car, go anywhere. So we had a 56 that 20 years. And longer than that, actually. Point is, those the fenders rust out over the headlights. If you know anything about those the Tri-5, the 55 through 57 Chevys, they all rust out over the headlights. The 56 was worse for it. And then the Chevrolet did the same thing they did the very same thing again with the Vega. And what were they thinking? I don't know. But I do know that we've got Mary on the line. Hello, Mary. Welcome to the David Carrier Show.
Good morning, David. Can you hear me on speaker okay?
Loud and clear. 4x4.
Good. Can I start?
You go right ahead.
All right. I have a sister who resides in Maryland at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving her, hopefully, to Grand Rapids, Michigan, because she has Parkinson's and some other things going on.
Sure.
Needs to get on Medicaid.
Okay.
I want to know what are Michigan residency requirements for Medicaid, like how is it residency established, and is there a time period?
There's no time period. It's America, right? And you don't need a internal transit visa like you do in Russia or some other countries. So, yeah, so she she moves in. What you want to do, though, is you want to get, now, does she have a residence in Maryland? Is she renting? Does she own?
She lives with her daughter.
Okay, but it's not her house. It's not sister's house.
No. And we want to move her here because there's more family to help her and take care of her.
Sure. Got it. So, she comes here. She goes to the Secretary of State. She turns in her New Jersey ID, driver's license, whatever it is she's got, gets a Michigan one. Okay. And uses, is she moving in with you then? Is that the idea? Or is she doing an apartment
We're going to use my address initially. She may actually need to go into a nursing home. We're still establishing that. Okay.
So I've got less than 2 minutes left, less than a minute. So
okay, yeah.
No. I'm here for the next 45 minutes. So just stick around through the commercials there, and we'll get back at it, because there's you're calling at exactly the right point. All right. This is exactly when you need to be calling, because there are some good things that you need to be thinking about, good ways to lay the groundwork so this goes very smoothly, and it can go very smoothly. So you're calling it right, just the right moment in the process where
this is very complicated. What to do? Should we get her Medicaid in Maryland first, or just start everything up here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to go through that. Well, so there's the music. So
muddy the waters. Okay.
Right. You don't want to do that. So we'll be back in before you know it. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Now's the time to give us a call, 616-774-2424, if you have a question, comment, or concern. Fortunately, Mary did that, and it's like, this is great, because Mary, let me see if I get the facts correct. that sister in Maryland has Parkinson's, and she's living right now with a daughter. Did I get that right? So she doesn't actually have real estate in Maryland. But there's more.
No, nothing actually.
Okay. And there's more family here in West Michigan. So she's coming here to if she needs long-term care, but to be surrounded by more family. So then the question is, okay. Now the question is, how do we get your sister the care that she needs in this context? So first of all, she does have to be a Michigan resident. So she moves in with you. You go to Secretary of State, bring her current identification, if she has a passport, birth certificate, that kind of thing, to get her Michigan ID card. Now she's got a Michigan ID card. Doesn't take any time. Boom, done. Now, question, and she's living with you. Now, she may go to assisted living, skilled nursing, and what have you. Okay. But to get started, she's going to establish residency with you. Now, here's the thing. Now, this doesn't apply to you, but maybe to other folks. If she did have a house in out of state, which a lot of our people are snowbirds and what have you, they'll go to Florida, they'll sell the Michigan place, buy a place in Florida, but then when they reach the point that your sister has, they'll come back to be with family, but they've got the house, the homestead in the other state. The good news is for the last, it's at least 20 years now, that's okay. You can have a homestead in another state. It will be excluded from the Michigan Medicaid. They won't force you to sell it or anything. You can keep that, even though it's in the other state, provided that, it was your homestead. So not relevant to your situation, but just to say, even if she did have a condo, a house, what have you, in New Jersey, you wouldn't have to fire sale it. Okay. So now she moves back. She's with you.
I understand that.
Okay. And she's got a certain amount of savings, perhaps, and a certain amount of income. Now, how much income does she have on a monthly basis? Because that's gonna matter.
Just her Social Security, which is probably $1,300 a month or so.
All right. So and faithful listeners know that I'm a big fan of the PACE program of all-inclusive care for the elderly. And perhaps, I don't know, but perhaps at this point, PACE, now, does she have any savings at all? Let me ask you that.
Not anything to speak of, no.
Okay. So even if she did, PACE is still would still be our go-to program, because with the COVID, PACE came out and said, hey, you don't have to spend down. You have to spend down, but we're not going to penalize you for it, and you'll still qualify for PACE. So let's say she had $10,000 or $20,000, and you say, well, 10 or 20, that's not much to speak of. I get it. On the other hand, when you're in a long-term care situation, having an extra $10,000 or $20,000 is the difference between scratchy, made out of cardboard underpants and not Pampers, but Depends. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you don't need that much money to have a big impact on your quality of life. So you'd want to hang on to, I would suggest you want to hang on to as much as you can. So sister moves in with you, and you're like, well, what are we going to do with sister all day long? She's got Parkinson's, she's got these needs, et cetera, et cetera. Well, how about assisted living? How about skilled nursing? Those are,
that's what we're thinking.
Yeah, those are many thousands of dollars a month. Okay. But what if, and I'm not prejudging, but what if sister's needs could be addressed by, the little bus that comes, by the aides that come at 8:00 in the morning, right? Attend to her personal hygiene, get her dressed and ready for the bus. The bus shows up, takes her to the senior center, breakfast, lunch, and a snack, then delivers her back home by 5. All right. And tomorrow morning we do the whole thing over again. I mean, maybe that's a solution.
That's part of the PACE program. Part of the PACE program.
That's what PACE is.
Okay.
That is PACE. So it's a Medicaid program, right? It is Medicaid. So we have to qualify for Medicaid, which is why I was interested in her income. Because if you've got, I think it's like $2,700 now per month is the cutoff. So if you got less than $2,700 a month coming in, gross, right? Not net, and that's per person. So maybe I'm just going to assume, Mary, you're married. Let's say your husband has $3,000 a month coming in, and you have $2,500 a month coming in. He's not going to be eligible because he's got too much, but you would be eligible because you're below the threshold. Do you see how that works?
Okay.
It's an individual thing.
Right.
It's not a.
My obviously it's just her income. No other family member will be considered in that. Okay.
That's correct. Yeah, and that's the point with PACE. It's only the individual's income, not the combined income, right? So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Also, you get to keep the income.
All right. What if
you don't have to pay the income in? So if she's got $1,000 a month coming in, then you have $1,000 a month, and what you want to do is when she's living with you, you set it up as a rental agreement, right? So she's paying rent. Now, if you're buying things for your sister, this is real important. People screw this up all the time. What you would naturally do, what people naturally do is Mary goes to the store, she buys family groceries and then 5 things for sister and then gets reimbursed. Okay, you can't do that. You got to use sister's debit card, credit card, whatever. So sister's paying for sister's own stuff. Just saying. Go ahead. You had a question?
Is this PACE statewide? I mean, would it be the same in all states or just here?
It's actually it's pretty much county by county. It's really zip code by zip code.
Okay.
And Kent County, Muskegon had it the longest time. Then Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and now it's the thing because it's 40 to 60% less than the assisted living skilled nursing alternative. Okay. So the government loves it. It's cheaper and individuals love it because it's what they wanted anyway. And nobody wants to go and sit.
So other states do have this. Other states do have this.
Oh yeah. Other states do have it. Yeah. I don't know New Jersey. But it tends to be the denser the population, the more obvious the benefit because the shorter the bus ride.
Okay.
Like if you look at the Google map and PACE organizations over by Troy, it's not every other block, but it seems like that. It's very. If you want to hang on through the break, there's a couple other things we would be beneficial to cover about PACE and all that, and what the alternatives are.
I would love that because I have one more. Yes, I have one more question. Sure. Super. Thank you.
Yeah, just hang on through the break and we'll be all set. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And now's the time for you to look good, look fine. Give us a call, 616-774-2424. We're talking with Mary, whose sister is moving in from New Jersey. Mary's sister suffers from Parkinson's, owns no real estate, has limited financial assets, monthly income, Social Security only, around $1,100, $1,100, something like that. And now the question is, because sister has outlived or needed, or I don't know, her needs are too great for daughter to take care of in New Jersey. Sister's moving back here because there's more family here, and we're considering care options. Right now, it seems that assisted living or skilled nursing might be appropriate. And what I'm suggesting is the PACE program might actually be a better fit, at least at first. PACE is program of all-inclusive care for the elderly. Some of the advantages of PACE are that it's only 5 days a week, but there's a 24/7 hotline you can call if there's an emergency. You keep your income, you stay at home, and that's kind of how it goes. They will come depending on your care plan, and that all depends on the care plan. But depending on the care plan, they'll come. They'll do personal hygiene, get you ready for the bus. The bus takes you to the senior center. You spend all day there, breakfast, lunch, and a snack. Come home, spend the evening, do it again. Weekends, you're on your own with PACE, as I say, except for emergency situations or dialysis, that kind of thing. They'll do that on the weekends as well. But that's the PACE. That's my summary there, Mary. How am I doing so far? Mary?
Does PACE have their own centers, or is it any senior center?
Oh, no. PACE has their own.
Okay.
Yeah. And frankly, that's the way you want it. Like what county are you in? It says GR, so Kent County?
Kent.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Yeah. So not to knock anybody else. And I'm not, but Kent's is deluxe. I mean, it's the old John Knox Church down on Kalamazoo and 44th. And, Spectrum has its rehab centers right it's not co-located, but they're right within proximity to each other. And it's I know this is a negative for a lot of people. I know this, what I'm going to say is going to be turn off half of my audience, but it's the University of Michigan health system that provides the health care at the PACE facility. So,
Okay.
Oh, well, you're in favor of it. Okay.
Go blue.
Go blue. There you go. But they have procedure rooms there. They have, staff, doctors on staff. It's the whole idea is if we didn't have to put people up 24/7, what else do they need? Well, physical therapy, exercise, socialization, meals. You go into the place, and you really should. It would be a good idea to take a tour of it. And they've got all these walking courses throughout the place, and it's like and they measure, oh, you walk to Detroit, or you're at Lake Superior, that kind of thing, And
it sounds wonderful.
Oh, we just did a lunch and learn. We had about 15 of their social workers going over how PACE works and all the rest of it, and just the nicest group of people you could ask for. Veronica over there is the go ahead, is the community outreach person. Love her. Love Veronica.
Okay.
But
David,
yes,
I really am excited you told me about PACE, because one thing is, her daughter would actually love her to stay in Maryland, but she works, and we here are retired. So maybe if there's a PACE out there, that's a very possibility she could stay with her daughter.
Well, give me a now. Don't tell me they live in Baltimore, for crying out loud, okay? What is that?
What would you like to know?
Where in Maryland does she live?
I'm not sure of the county. It's Silver Springs area.
Oh. Well, let's see. So right near DC. So she's a Beltway bandit then, huh? Your granddaughter or your niece, I guess.
It's her daughter. Yeah, it's my niece. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just looking up.
That's all right.
From Maryland,
It's been a big help.
I'm not getting it. Let's see.
That's all right. We can look into it. At least I'm aware of it now.
Yeah. But I would be very surprised, frankly. I'd be shocked if there wasn't one in Silver Springs, because I got Silver. Here we go. I'd be very surprised if they didn't have it in Silver Spring, because as I say, it's Montgomery County. All right. So.
Okay. That's right. Yeah.
Because the like I say, it is a much less expensive way for the thing to go, and for them to pay for it.
Hear that.
Well,
I
let's see
just have
here.
one last question. I don't want to take up all your time. Do you know any other local resources for me if we continue with the move here, which will happen probably by July, in our area, Kent County area, that I might access? You've been very helpful, and I know I can access you, but are there any other
Yeah.
Medicaid
Well,
helpful
um,
helpful organizations or people that we
yeah.
could talk to?
So let me just give you this, and you can follow up on it. Okay. So Montgomery County, it's called Trinity Health PACE. So it's Trinity Health
Okay.
PACE. Okay. And they just expanded
Yep.
it in 2021. So they're moving ahead now. Getting qualified for PACE is a long and winding road. So this is the announcement in March of 22. They said, pleased to announce selection of following organizations: Montgomery County Trinity Health PACE. Now, it may not be up and running yet, okay, but definitely look into that. And then, yeah, no, there's the what do you call Area Agency on Aging? They're another one. But here's what I'd suggest.
Oh, yes.
You know, they can be helpful. And there's they have My Choice and whatnot. There's some other programs. If you call the office, right, when it comes to hooking you up with the resources, right, we try to specialize. So if you ask for Chris Cleary, she's our director of professional relationships, and she maintains contact with the nursing homes, with the various programs. It would be worth spending 15 minutes with her, just to see what other things were available, and because she's on a first name basis with these folks. You know what I mean? And so she'd be, oh, you need to talk to Kathy over here, or Susie over there, you know, whatever it may be. So that's what, but Area Agency on Aging. Yeah, we don't charge for it. You know, it's just a matter of helping out. But that's what I'd be saying. Okay. The other thing
very, very helpful.
Okay. Well, here's the last thing. PACE, you know, you may look at your sister and say, jeepers, you know, the weekends are going to be very difficult. I don't think this is going to work, et cetera, et cetera. We like to get people started on PACE because even if things get worse, PACE will pay for, you know, if it's part of the care plan, they'll pay for the assisted living. They'll pay for the skilled nursing. Okay. So it's not like you're doing PACE. Oh, now we need something additional. We got to redo this whole thing. No, you don't. Once you're on PACE, that's till death do us part kind of thing. Okay. So I want to make sure you understood that. This is not a, it only works.
Do you have to be on Medicaid to qualify for PACE? I kind of forgot that at the beginning of our discussion.
PACE is funded by the Medicaid, right? But you can pay, the private pay rate now is around $4,500 a month. And the average grant, the grant that the government gives to the PACE organization per person enrolled, is $9,000. So it's like you're doubling your money, and it's not limited to. It's not like, oh, we spent $4,500 on you, get out of here. No, it's like whatever it is you need when you're doing the private pay. It's a good deal. It's a good deal for the government. It's a good deal for the individuals enrolled in PACE. So.
Okay, so she does. I can apply for PACE now. She doesn't have to be on Medicaid, or she does.
It is Medicaid.
I'm not sure about that.
No, it is Medicaid.
Oh, she does.
Yeah, when you apply for PACE.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Okay.
But you can do it private pay as well.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Mary. Thanks for calling. We'll be right back. You're listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. We've got John on the line. At least I think we do. John, you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
All righty then.
Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, you betcha. How can I help?
My question is in regards to capital gains.
Okay.
My father passed away. My mother is in a care facility.
Okay.
They've done pretty well in planning for their future.
Okay.
But their home and some property, we're taking care of the home, and have got conflicting thoughts on capital gains
Okay.
for their home. We kind of are tired of taking care of the home.
Sure.
So if we were to sell the home, or she were to sell it, would there be capital gains on that home?
Well, what did they pay for it, if you know, ballpark?
I don't know. It was long. They had it built.
So let's
It was
say
probably
$50,000. Okay. Would 50,000 be a
20
crazy number?
years ago, probably.
Yeah, yeah. So so $25,000. Well, let's say it was
No,
yeah.
it was probably 70 grand.
All right.
Maybe.
So all right. Well, and what's it worth now? What's it worth now? What would you sell it for?
120.
Okay.
maybe.
All right. So
The complicated thing is it's on 60 acres. We'd have to split off. I don't know what. We were told by one attorney that we have to wait till Mom passes to avoid capital gain. And another attorney said, well, no, maybe not, because they had to sell a home to buy that home. So I'm not sure.
how long did mom and dad live there? For a long, long time, right?
This home probably 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So you came to the right shop. Here's the deal. And when did they move out? Or is mom still living there?
Mom is not living there now. We got her finally to go to a care facility where she's doing better. She's eating better. She's declining.
Okay.
But she's healthier now that she's not on her own.
Gotcha. How long has she been at the care facility? When did she move out of the house?
Less than a year.
Okay. So here's the deal. Now stick with me, because some of the advice you got was not wrong, but it wasn't helpful. Okay. That happens a lot. So when the one attorney said, you're going to have capital gains, they are correct. You would have capital gains if they paid 70 and it's worth 120, you got 50,000 of capital gain. Now, that's not so bad, because I'm going to bet you that your mom's income is low enough that when you have low income, then you don't pay any capital gain tax. You have a capital gain, but you don't pay the tax. So that's one possibility. Okay. The second possibility, the second reality, is that because this is homestead, and let's say with the 60, and you'd include the 60 acres in this, you don't want to do them separately. So you include the 60 acres, and now you're selling it for $270,000, let's just say. And you say, "Ooh, that's a lot."
Probably more than that.
Okay, $350,000.
Probably more than $1 million.
Okay, and is dad still around?
800 to
Okay,
it's in a really developable area, like the last farm in the neighborhood.
Got you covered. So when did dad die?
Last year.
Okay, and he was living at the house?
No, he was at a care facility when he
For
passed.
how long? How long before he died?
It was last spring
Okay,
when he
all
passed.
right. No. When did he move out of the house? When did he move?
Moved out 4 months before that.
Okay, all right, good. Talk about death of your father. Good is a relative term. But anyway, here's how it works. And real quick, if you lived in a facility in a home for 2 out of the 5 years before you sell it, each spouse gets $250,000. That's a gimme. Okay. You get to knock $250,000 off the sale price when it comes to capital gain. Now, on your mom's half, that matters, right? So she gets half
Right.
of the basis, which would be $35,000. If you paid $70,000 for it, her half of the basis is $35,000. Then she gets another $250,000. So she has $285,000, right? Of gimme of don't worry about the capital gain. On your dad's side of things, it's a little different because on your dad's side of things, his half of the property gets the stepped up basis. Okay. This is what the second attorney was telling you about. You got to wait till they die. Well, yeah, you can if you want. But let's say it was worth $800,000 at that point, right? So dad's half is worth $400,000. Okay. So you don't pay tax on $400,000 for dad's half of it. On mom's side, you have another 200 and we're saying, $325,000 because it's it's 250 plus 35. That's the 285. So together you've got 685,000 of exclusion from capital gain. And your mom's probably not going to pay capital gain tax anyway. So it's all good news. Give me a call at the office. All right. I can go over with you in more detail. 616-361-8400. Okay. That's at the office. All right. Tell them we talked on the radio and you betcha. But it's all good news for you.
Yes.
All right. All right. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. You bet. Thank you. Listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's area.
A lively discussion.